Welcome to Astoria Film Festival Presents, Astoria Film Festival's weekly half-hour program featuring our films, filmmakers, events, and the local community. Today we're speaking with John Noel and Sarah Misch, a recently married couple who has been with us since our first festival.
So, what do you want to watch?
I don't know. Whatever you want. I'm gonna go to bed.
I am too. Okay, just not right this second. Oh, can we put on How I Met Your Mother?
Sure. Just start somewhere in the beginning so I don't wake up in the middle of an episode I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, you really need to finish it. Wait, you are literally living years behind the rest of the world.
Sorry, I haven't had time to watch some show.
Oh. What's that supposed to mean?
You know I've been busy.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I'm not.
Oh. Well, no, not in the same way. You know, you're a writer. You can just...
okay.
write.
So that's what this is about.
It isn't about anything. I'm just really sleepy. I want to go to bed.
You know what? It may seem silly to you, the things I care about, but they matter in my world.
It doesn't seem silly. I just don't care about some TV show or movies the same way you do. That's all.
You know, when you say things like that, I wonder why the hell I love you.
As long as you do, boo.
Ugh.
I love you too, babe.
How's everything?
Pretty good, I guess. You know, it's okay. Sarah and I actually, we got engaged, obviously, and then we have our 8-year anniversary coming up. So we're going on a little trip and
Aw, where are you gonna go?
just upstate to like Ithaca area. We have like an Airbnb where you don't even see or talk to the hosts, and we're gonna walk some trails and be nice and isolated, but like see some new things other than Astoria Park.
Not to disparage Astoria Park, but yeah, it's we've seen a lot of it this year.
Yeah, I walk it in my dreams, so it's okay if I go someplace else.
I walk it in my dreams. That sounds horrific.
Well,
there's a film. There's your next film.
well, Sarah and I I'm like a person who like I need to like get out there every day. So I like literally take myself on a walk every day like I'm some like dog.
My husband too.
Most of the time Sarah joins me, and most of the time we go to Astoria Park. So we've like walked all different sections of it. And
Well, now you can take the ferry across and do Central Park or Riverside Park or.
I heard we're probably too nervous to do that. Maybe after we come back from our trip. We don't want anything. We're like so like.
Yeah, my husband too, and me too.
How are you doing? I know it's a crazy time.
You just, it's interesting. I don't know. It's interesting to figure out how to like fly by the seat of your pants. Although I kind of have been doing that for years for various reasons. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's like a very, just take it you can only take it day by day because you literally can't predict what the next day will be. And that's, I think, a very hard thing for people who've been used to a very predictable, foreseeable future to go through. Like, I think other countries that haven't had that security may be better inclined to deal with it than us. We have not had this much insecurity on so many fronts, I think, in our history, in recent history, really. So.
Yeah, there's no plan. So that's the only way to take it, and day by day when there's no plan.
Absolutely. So, with the festival, just trying to find little things here and there that we can do, like reaching out to people like, oh, would you do this? Would you consider this? And luckily, a lot of people have said yes. So you know, we actually have more going on this year for the festival than we have had in past years, just to try to like a little pop up here, a little thing over there, you know, and they will be little. We won't have any more than like 25 people at them each. So, which is why I'm trying to do a bunch of them so that people get to go to stuff if they want to. But then we'll have the full online, and we're talking with Queens Public Television to air some of the stuff. So yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good.
Well, that's great. It's really great to, you know, to see you take in the challenge that is all of the
COVID.
circumstance. Yeah. All of the circumstances, and create something and continue to create and build community is really amazing, Nina. So I think you
Thank
should,
you. I'm trying. I'm trying.
yeah, take
You
some
know.
moments to be proud and grateful of,
Thank you.
like, because
Well,
you're
I am
amazing.
grateful for you guys. I kind of very wrongly feel like, you know, like you're like the festival couple. Like you were there at our first festival. You've worked with us over the years. Like now you're getting engaged. You got engaged. I'm like, like I don't know. I kind of take it personally, and I'm very excited about it.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it's wrongly at all. I think we're definitely part of the family at this point. I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Likewise.
for years to come, hopefully. I mean,
Yay. That makes me very happy.
yeah.
All right, so let's talk about you and your background and how you got started as a filmmaker.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I moved to New York City, I guess a little over 10 years ago from Connecticut to become an actor. And I was doing theater and film at the time. And then basically just started creating my own projects, started writing, getting behind the camera, doing a lot of editing, and fell in love with that as well. And then I began helping actor friends with their reels to shoot and edit them. And that was a lot of fun. And so I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago, we started Film Repertory Group, which was just like a bunch of filmmakers and friends that were frustrated with whatever like job they had, and they just wanted to make stuff. And so we just basically put a group of filmmakers together that made stuff, and we had been just making things, doing 48-hour film festivals and contests and social media videos, and generally making stuff and having a great time. And then I kind of entered the professional freelance version of video production and editing soon after that with my own small company, John Noel Productions, which is a one-man production company. It's just me, and I do a lot of video editing and small-time production work and helping people secure production work and finish their films. And I've also been doing a lot recently of converting live and theater performances to digital. Everything from a church worship service in San Francisco to my favorite theater company that I work for, which is Treehouse Shakers, which is a nonprofit theater for young audiences company that is now, we're trying to get a web series started called Pillow Fort, which was my idea for a little web series for young audiences, and we're working on that. And still freelancing as much as I can. I'm in my little home office here, which is my bedroom plus this IKEA wood thing behind me, and still doing a lot of freelance video editing from here and
Understand. So
producing
tell us
TV.
about A Good Night's Rest.
Absolutely. Well, it all started at Astoria Film Festival. Actually, when none of our films were in it, we just went to go to Astoria Film Festival, and we met Jason Coons there, Sarah and I. And Jason and I got to talking about working on a project, and that happens at film festivals and exchange numbers and whatever. But then we kept talking, we kept meeting up and like talking about what scripts or what we'd want to work on. And Jason is a fantastic writer, so I kind of assumed we'd be working on one of his scripts, and we went through everything, and
And
we kind
amazing
of
actor. And
oh yeah, I mean he's all of the above kind of guy. And so I assumed we were going to work working on one of his scripts, and he liked A Good Night's Rest. It's kind of very simple concept, but we felt really good about it. And then but then he worked with me on the script, and we worked through on pre-production. We got everything together, and we're like, all right, let's shoot this horror. So we shot a horror short in 2 days in our lead's apartment. Our other lead, Deanna Henson, who is amazing in this, along with Jason, who was the other lead actor in this and is amazing. And yeah, and now I'm looking back on it and it feels very nostalgic because it was all of us running around. It was like almost a year ago, so it was like September, it was warm, all of us were doing 5 different jobs and it was a scramble, but now it feels like the best thing that ever did happen, and I hope it happens again soon. But you know,
Well,
and
there's
yeah,
nothing like that feel of being on a set. Like it's something very addictive that it's hard to replicate without contact. You know.
yeah, I think that's for a lot of us the deal. Like the feeling of that is like was gone for a while, and it's really hard to deal with because we're used to like everyone who knows me, I'm kind of like a fast-paced guy. I'm running around all the time. I like it, and this whole thing has forced us to kind of stop, and I hate that. But being in quarantine probably did help post-production, I'll have to say. Being unemployed probably did help post-production for me, having a lot of time on my hands for the most
Everybody's
part.
gonna have like amazingly edited films next year because of all the time this year to that it's
Oh
given.
yeah. There's going to be a flood of films that were made this next year that would have never been finished because everyone would have dropped it in post-production if they had time on their hands.
Yep, absolutely.
Um,
And It's Not You. Tell us a little about that. What motivated that creation?
oh man. Well, that was really one of those, it just happened. We are going to be locked in here. Sarah and I love each other, but we have a very, very small apartment. So of course we like to take real life and just extrapolate and like expand and make it into something crazier and bigger. And so we just thought about, a couple that just moved in together and having to deal with this and how crazy that scenario is. And we just started playing with that. And we really needed a creative outlet, I think, when all this first happened, because we couldn't be on sets. We couldn't get our filmmaking fix. We couldn't get our creative fix. And so we just were like, we need to do something. And so there was a lot of that energy to it, which I kind of love.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely like a time capsule piece in
Yeah.
addition to being, having its own merit on its own. But it's been interesting listening through a lot of, I've been editing the interviews now to put online, and the ones I started earlier, like in May, it's just such a, it's an interesting view of kind of from then till now, what people have talked about and how people have felt about life. It's interesting.
I am so interested I was always very interested. I want to see the dance films. And now I'm like very, very interested in the quarantine films because of that. I think there's just the same thing kind of happened to a lot of people. And there seems to be an extraordinarily different amount of takes and like impressions and opinions about like, your circumstance is entirely different, even if the same thing kind of like happened to everybody.
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
and
I mean, there was a surprising or not surprising number of horror films that came through the quarantine films. Like they were quarantine films, but they were basically horror films. And then there were kind of very like hopeful, sunny ones, right? One literally named Hope. So
yeah.
it depended on and they could have been pushing for hope because they were hopeless, or they just have a different perspective. I don't know.
No, totally. I think that like Sarah and I talked about that, about how like there's a lot of people making very dark work for obvious reasons. Dark stuff is happening all around us, unfortunately. But also when dark stuff happens, during the depression, during all of these times, a lot of what comes out of it is a lot of escapism and fun, because people want that when life is actually very hard. They don't want to see more of that. So it's weird how there can be a balance of like when there's terrible stuff going on, lighthearted stuff can find its way to like the creative surface a lot of times. Yeah, I mean, I I was happy. The funniest thing is, I feel like we didn't take a year off because I came
You
in, I met
were
Jason,
there.
and
You were networking and creating.
yeah, I
As a,
usually hate networking, but that one really worked out, you know? I love him.
I feel like, I don't know, I don't want to jinx us, but I feel like we attract some of the kindest people I've ever met. And like, every year I'm grateful for who shows up, you know?
Well, what I think I'll speak to us, what attracted us, other than the film festival being in our backyard, was that, you know, there was like this sense of community, and then it continues to build. That continues to be a focus of yours in the film festival. And then that, of course, attracts people who are interested in community and building community. And so that builds community even more. And I think it's really cool to see that and be like a small part of it, or be the
Yeah,
first couple of it.
we try. I mean, you know, I do it because I've grown to love you guys. That's my motivation.
Yeah, well, the love is seen, and that's why we like keep coming back. And
Welcome to the Astoria Film Festival's virtual step and repeat interview. Today we're meeting with Sarah Misch. She's the star, choreographer, and producer of Meet, a dance film.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good, or like as good as anybody is in these times.
Tell us about yourself, a little bit about you and your background, and about the film and what kind of was the motivation to create this film.
Totally. So I am originally born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada, but I've been in New York I came to New York to go to NYU to get my undergraduate degree in educational theater, and I've just been here since, and that's been a little over 10 years. I'm primarily a theater trained artist, but I've also always been really, really interested in dance. And as I learned more about film through dating my partner, who is a filmmaker and who was the director on this project, and sort of learning to be a film actor, I've become more excited about this medium and the intersection between like how we can use dance and film together. I think that there's a lot of unexplored possibility there. And the idea for Meet is actually an idea I had for a directing nonverbal project that I had in college. That I ended up having to scrap because a requirement for the piece was that there had to be at least 3 people in it, and this is a duet. So I sort of just sat on it for about 10 years. It was originally a stage piece, and then I realized that a lot of the sort of effects that I wanted to create in real time in theater could also be achieved through film, and there were a lot more possibilities on how to achieve it. And so a huge part of the story in terms of actually getting the film to finally come to fruition is I pitched the film to the guys at FRG probably about 2 to 3 years before we actually made it. But I was undecided about whether I wanted to be the woman in the film or if I wanted to hire another dancer and like just totally be outside of it. And also I was having a hard time finding a male partner who I felt was like the right fit, who I felt was kind of match me in sort of energy and creativity, but I also really wanted an actor and not just a dancer because I knew that I wanted all of these tight shots. And I also wanted somebody that I felt safe to create around because I knew that this was going to be a total experiment. And I happened to be working with my friend Tristan, who was a former member of Improbable Stage, my movement theater company. And he and I were improvising a lot in rehearsal. And I mean, if you see the film, you'll see he throws me around very easily. we have very like facile, easy body chemistry, and he's fun as bleep to work with. And we laugh a lot in rehearsal. And it's sort of just, and that ended up naturally coming into a very nice fit. And the film would not have, he was the last piece that like really needed to come into place in order for me to feel comfortable to even make the piece. And so I'm just really, really grateful that he signed on.
A little more about Film Repertory Group?
Absolutely. So Film Repertory Group is a collective of New York-based indie film artists. We are currently 3 members. We're John, Noel, Sarah, Misch, and Justin Rogers. Mostly it started as passion projects, and now we are sort of a production company for hire.
Are you working on any new projects coming up?
We are actually, we're actually in pre-production for another dance film. Working title is A Woman's Work. I am co-creating this one with a member of I'm in a movement theater company. Another member of the company, Danielle, and I are co-creating it together. And we were in the middle of choreographing it when COVID happened. And we've danced together for several years now. And so we sort of decided that we could continue to choreograph virtually. So we have been. We've been doing remote choreography sessions through Zoom. And we've welcomed on a female director. And so we've been having sort of a long, drawn out pre-production, which has been actually kind of amazing, because normally I feel like we would be pushing ourselves to make choices quicker, but there's no rush.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap up?
I did a virtual musical, recorded entirely over Zoom towards the beginning of quarantine when we weren't really sure how long it was gonna last. That's an original musical that was written, recorded, rehearsed all in this time period. It's called While We Wait. You can find it on the Big Theater Company Instagram page, or you can go to bigtheater.org/wait. Because we had to record it all through Zoom, and there's not really a way to sync music from multiple locations yet, we all recorded our stuff separately. And so he edited together 8 different tracks, and they blended all the music later. It's crazy. It was a crazy editing feat.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yes. Tell us a little about, I know, when did you start your hallway dance sessions, and how have they been going?
Yeah, so I actually started those in 2018 in November, because I was feeling extremely frustrated with my auditioning as an actor and wanting to take a little more ownership of my artistic stuff and just decide to make something. So I started with this initiative called that I made up called Creative November, where I was just going to do something creative every day for every day of November. And all I wanted to do was dance in my hallway. So I only did that. And then I made it into, I decided to just continue and make it a semi-daily practice. I actually, hang on, prop. I read this book, The Creative Habit by Twyla Tharp, which I cannot recommend if you're a dancer or just a creative person. It's an excellent, excellent book to just help you take charge of your own artistry. And I just got really excited about the idea of making it a day, like making this a practice that I do every day.
I think it's kind of like a writing journal or an art journal. You know, it's an daily exercise. You know, that's how it feels, like a dance journal when I watch it. I very much enjoy it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's really fun. And one of the things that's been amazing is I post some of the stuff on my Instagram, and I've had a lot of people sort of reach out to me privately and say that it has inspired them to try something, anything. Felt like I was just doing it for me, and it really was nice that it affected other people too.
I mean, I think that's the best thing about art is, you know, you do it for yourself because you have to. Like, you have to do it to stay sane. You have to do it to feel good. And then I think you're often surprised, pleasantly surprised by how much it might help other people. You know, so like the process that helps you so much also helps others. It's kind of a beautiful thing about art.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you in person again, and give you, yes, virtual hugs. This is what I've been doing.
The Astoria Film Festival is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We produce an annual film festival featuring short films and web series from around the world, and hold smaller screenings throughout the year at the Zucker Theater and at local bars and restaurants. Our founder and executive director, Nina Fiori, grew up here in Astoria and worked in television and film production with Sesame Street, PBS, Noggin, Viacom, MTV, and others. She also worked in after-school education for many years. Nina started this organization in 2018 as a way to connect local youth with local filmmakers. The majority of proceeds from our screenings and the festival go into creating and providing affordable filmmaking workshops for the local community in schools, after schools, and community centers. This past year, we've organized media and film industry career days for local high schools, created a group of film fellows and junior board members whom we mentor and who work with us on education, festival prep, and film production. We also held several free filmmaking workshops, funded partly by our festival profits and partly by a community grant from the Queen's Council on the Arts. Our general workshops and summer programs have included children ages 6 to 12 from around the community. We've moved to an online instruction/outside production format since COVID-19 restrictions, and are currently holding virtual film clubs for ages 8 to 12 and 13 to 18, which meet weekly. If you'd like to support our work, you can make a donation at AstoriaFilmFestival.org.